Projection mapping is a manual process that mostly involves using your eyes to align your projected content to conform to a physical stage or structure. Resolume Arena provides tools to assist in the process, easing your workflow. The first step is to set up your composition for input mapping. This involves laying out your Resolume composition to match the physical attributes of the surface or stage you'll be projecting on. Even if you don't have immediate access to a stage, input mapping can be done in the preparation phase as long as you have a reference or general specifications of the stage. For the sake of simplicity, let's use a stage built of 4 squares, 2 by 2, as an example. This is what our stage looks like. All 4 squares combined create a square which is the general shape of the stage. Knowing we're working with a square, we can change our composition size to 1080 by 1080. Click Apply to save your settings. Now that our composition is set up, we'll use the advanced tools in Resolume Arena to create slices that will display content on the squares of our stage. From the Output menu, click on Advanced. Make sure the Input Selection tab is selected. On the left side is our default screen setup. Screen 1 corresponds to our output, which is currently our projector, but can be anything from a TV to a monitor. If your setup has multiple outputs, you can add additional screens by clicking on the plus button. For this example, we're focusing on one output, a projector. To continue setting up our input map, let's create slices to match the look of our stage. Since our stage is comprised of 4 squares and our composition is 1080 by 1080, each square should be 540 by 540. Select slice 1 from the left column. We can click and drag any of the points of this slice under the Input Selection tab to resize it. By holding Shift, we can constrain the shape to keep it square. Alternatively, since we know the size of our squares is based on the composition resolution, we can manually input the values into the slice parameters in the right column. Click on the width and height value to change the slice size to 540 by 540. Now we can drag our slice to the top left and it will snap into place. Let's rename the slice so we can keep track of our squares. Double-click on Slice 1 in the left column to rename it. Let's call this Top Left. This slice will display content to the top left square of our stage. Next, we'll create the remaining squares. You can do this by repeating the process and adding slices by clicking plus from the menu on the left. However, an easier way to do this is by holding Option or Alt, then clicking and dragging the slice to a new position. We'll do this 3 times. Once our slices are in place, we can rename them according to their position on the stage. Double-click on the slice names to the left and type in their names. Our input map is now complete. With our input map set up, let's choose how content will be displayed on our stage. It makes sense to route layers to slices, but doing so would not give us the flexibility of using layer blend modes and effects. In a live setting, it's cumbersome to change input selection settings anytime a layer needs to be rerouted to a specific square. Instead, we can take a different approach using effects with composition as our input source. Click on Save and Close to save our input map settings. Let's designate layer 1 to display content that fills the entire stage across all squares. Let's rename this layer to Full Square. For layer 2, we can use the Slice Transform effect to display the same content on each of the 4 squares. Under Effects, drag the Slice Transform effect to layer 2. What the Slice Transform effect does is allow you to specify which slices to display layer 2's content on. To view slices, click on the View menu and select Show Slices. From the Slices panel, drag all slices directly to the Slices parameter under the Slice Transform effect. Layer 2 will now show 4 instances of our content displayed on all 4 squares. Let's rename this layer to 4 Squares. We can also use Slice Transform to display content in specific squares. Let's use layer 3 to display content in the 2 right squares. Add the Slice Transform effect to layer 3. Click on the Slices panel and let's drag the bottom right and top right slices to the effect. We'll rename this layer Right Squares. With this method, we can have content displayed in any of our squares across any number of layers. This can save time from having to route layers to slices using the advanced output tools. The final step in projection mapping involves using output transformation to project on our stage of squares. From the Output menu, click on Advanced. Click on the Output Transformation tab, and on the Device drop-down menu to the right, select your output device. Our projector is displayed too, so this is what we'll select. Select the grid icon under the Output Transformation tab to show visual indicators to help align the projection. Enable Show Slice Grid and Show an Output to see the grid on the stage. The first thing we want to do is match our output to the shape we created from our input map. Click and drag on all the slices directly or select them from the menu on the left. Once they're selected, right-click and select Match Input Shape. Our output will conform to the shape of our input map. Now we can drag the entire grid of slices towards our stage and scale it roughly into position. All that's left is to reposition the points of our squares to align with our stage projection. With our stage in view and output transformation selected in Resolume, select the top left slice. Click on Edit Points, and now we can manually drag points from our slices to match each of the squares on the stage. At this point, it's a matter of eyeballing everything and aligning each slice accurately. For precise placement of points, use the arrow keys. To align points in bigger increments, hold Shift and use the arrow keys. Once the projected input map lines up with our physical stage, we're good to go. Click on Save and Close, and now you can focus on mixing your content. Here's how the content looks on each of our layers. Layer 1 fills the entire stage. Layer 2 fills each square. And Layer 3 displays content in the right squares. Let's add effects to make our projection mappings even more interesting. First, let's randomly shuffle a clip across all 4 squares. Trigger a clip on Layer 1. Under the Video Wall effect, drag the Random Tiles preset to the triggered clip. Simply adjust the screen's parameter slightly under 0.40. And now random sections of this clip are distributed across all 4 squares. This effect works really well for this type of stage. We could even use Resolume's built-in sources to create new content for our stage. Under the Sources panel, let's drag the 45 pan preset from the Lines generator to an empty clip slot on Layer 1 and trigger it. Under Effects, let's search for Low Res and drag the Mario preset to the Lines clip. We'll adjust the pixel size parameter until it's almost full. If we hold Option or Alt while dragging, we can adjust in very small increments. We could also type 0.998 so that each pixel matches the size of our squares. With this effect, our squares now blink on and off. To add more randomness, click on the Random button of the Line's playback position and adjust the speed to change the blinking frequency. Now we have an animated pixelated clip that complements the squares nicely. Have some fun and experiment once your projection mappings are complete. You'd be surprised at what you could create using the effects and sources inside of Resolume.